If social media was around in your childhood, what embarrassing moment would you be famous for? Trying to impress my crush by showing him how high I could kick. I slipped and broke my wrist. Not before landing directly into your crush's arms, am I right? Fuck, I wish. He definitely just watched me go down though. Pooping on the floor between arcade games at age 7. So I won't lose my place in line to play Gauntlet. I lost my place in line. I wonder why. Poop wasn't big enough. Was in choir and had an upset stomach. So was laying down while everyone else was practicing. Adults thought I was faking it, so made me get up and sing with everyone. A few minutes later I puked all over another kid. They let me go home after that. Oh god, I'm sorry. Mine was similar. Mum thought I was faking and still took me to the Lame Nature Walk when I said my stomach really hurt. Kids club were on a trip there and all stopped to watch me throw up everywhere repeatedly for a while. It was so embarrassing. My mom did that to me when we were on a family vacation when I was like 17. I got food poisoning from some bad sushi and she insisted we drive out to the hiking trail she had planned. I whimpered every time the car hit a bump or took a curve too fast and then bolted for the bathroom at the little park ranger building the second she parked the car. I did manage not to puke/shit until I got to the toilet, so that's something I guess. I was at the airport. Hadn't seen my dad since I got back. Saw a guy with a blazer like my dad's. Jumped onto this random stranger's back as he's looking for his luggage. He must have been so confused. At least you didn't get on the wrong plane and end up in New York. Extreme camel toe doing a Barbie girl number at the talent show. First time Barbie ever had something between the legs. Certified not Barbie. In 5th grade I was in a school musical production where in one song I was the Boogie Woogie reindeer, and during the song I was supposed to dance. Well, my mom had just showed me the movie Coyote Ugly, so I thought the best course of action was to dance like the girls in that movie. I'm sure there's still a home video out there of the 5th grade boy dancing like a stripper. What can you do? It's not like you can fight the moonlight. Not embarrassing, but I ruined a magic show once. The magician said he needed a good kid to help him. I declared myself a good kid and walked on stage. I then proceeded to ruin the trick by pointing out the ball he made disappear was behind a table. He then sent me away. Something similar happened to me. I didn't ruin the trick, but magic was ruined for me when the magician asked me to help him on stage and secretly shoved the supposedly teleporting object in my hand. I was baffled and just went along with it, but my disappointment was immeasurable. If I were you, I'd put the object in my pocket and wait for the magician to start acting distressed and confused before pulling it out from behind his own ear. Putting toilet paper in my butt like a horsetail and running around the house naked with cups as ooze. I'm sure there is a picture, but I have no access to that. Edit. Holy god. This blew up. Thank you all for the entertaining comments, wonderful awards, and more than 10k likes. Farting in my dad's face after asking him to check out a lump on my butt. I don't know how old you are, but you'll likely be getting crap about that until your dying day. Who says he didn't already have a crap that day? I had a stomach bug once in middle school, and the ducking nurse didn't believe me. I may have cried wolf before. I suffered through school all day until finally my last period. We were taking a test and I asked my teacher if I could go to the bathroom, and before I could finish speaking I projectile vomited over her shoulder and mostly into the trash can. The jock in the CL butt was like, whoa. H, your throw up looks like Sprite. E, and even in my stupor I was like, what the fuck? K. My teacher made the horse girl walk me to the nurse with the soiled trash bin, and horse girl was actually super cool about it. T. Told me not to be embarrassed and took my mind off it by talking about horses. Classic horse girl. Always there when you need her. Moved houses and my brother's room was where the old bathroom was. Sleepwalked in and peed right in his face, asserting dominance. I was around 8 or so, and my first time seeing a men's urinal inside a McDonald's restroom. I thought to myself, what a weird sink, and proceeded to wash my hands on it by literally smearing my hands on the surface of the urinal where the water flows. Got back to our table and told my mom about it. I don't know, it was possible for someone to gasp, laugh, cry, and be embarrassed at the same time. I'm pretty sure other people from surrounding tables overheard it. Social media wasn't really used back then. Facebook's still on its early stages. Did something similar in a porta potty at the state fair as a kid. Thought it was a toilet for babies. So thinking it'd be an interesting experience, I wedged my skinny hut into the wet slimy thing. I got pee all over my hands and butt. Vividly remember the porta sinks being out of water too. I cringe to this day. This is absolutely horrifying. And also something my kids would do. I'm sure it helped your immune system in some way though. My friend and I thought it would be fun to recreate Jackbutt and title it Jackbutt. We were like 11 to 12. Instead of doing anything actually dangerous, we would take the truck/wheels off our skateboard and do stupid tricks on a trampoline and then make a hand signal and yell Jackbutt at the camera. I'm glad the recording on VHS was lost to the world. The time I drank a whole bottle of ketchup and proceeded to throw it all up. Then my mom walked in and thought I was vomiting blood and screamed. I was maybe 3 years old, but still remember that. Your poor mom. I'm sure that was terrifying at the time, but hilarious in hindsight. I peed from top of stairs during a sleepwalking event. Did you win the event? Was in a shopping mall when I heard someone say my name. At least it sounded like my name. I looked up from my phone to see this pretty girl walking towards me with outstretched arms and a smile. She looked so familiar, like someone I knew from my high school. So of course my dumb, nearsighted self, who didn't want to second guess his good fortune, opened his arms wide to receive and reciprocate the hug. She sidestepped around me neatly like a ballerina ninja and delivered the hug to its rightful owner, who was right behind me in my blind spot, leaving me fumbling. To play off the most embarrassing moment of my life. I still cringe when I think about this. Edit. Whoa. I never expected this to get anywhere. With multiple awards to boot. To show my appreciation, I've chosen to admit this was not quite the end of that soul-crushing ordeal. After hightailing it out of there, with my dignity in shreds, I met up with a few friends, and I was able to put the entire debacle behind me. That is, until I ran into Ballerina Ninja and the Hug Thief once again, who by a supreme duck-eye by the universe had been joined by a couple of their friends. I glanced in their direction and saw her nudge her friends and whisper something while pointing in my direction. Then they laughed. A more wholesome similar story. My best friend was walking across the crosswalk to me with her arms out, and a guy in front of me looked around at the other people, then slowly turned and opened his arms. She realized what was going on and decided to hug him back, and he asked if she knew him. She motioned towards me and told him that she didn't want him to feel embarrassed, so she hugged him anyway. They've been dating for 2 years. It's hard to believe, but if that's actually true, that's crazy cool. Walking onto the mud after they half drained the Lynn River, I fell up to my armpits in mud and had to be rescued by the fire department. By the time the firefighters got me out, there must have been 50, 100 people standing around watching my dumb butt get pulled from the mud. When I cut my own bangs, it was bad. Oh god. Home haircuts. You'd think I'd have learned. I had so many god-awful haircuts, including bangs that were half an inch long and just sort of stuck out from my hairline. My friend and I used to choreograph dances for various songs, Barbie Girl being one of our best, and record it on her dad's video camera. I hope to god no one ever finds those tapes. That's not too bad. Especially when you consider most young kids are doing the same thing now with cringy TikTok dances. Sadly, those videos will inevitably haunt the internet for eternity. When those kids grow, there will be no hiding. Oh my gosh. Most embarrassing moment of my life by far. I was in middle school about 10 years ago, and basically at the most vulnerable age of my life, where everyone was trying so hard to be cool and accepted. My mom had a lot of older sayings that I would hear a lot and rubbed off on me. One of those was being fingered when someone would flip her off. She was fond of saying this in traffic whenever she'd cut anyone off. I didn't know it meant anything other than giving the one finger salute. So I was walking in a very crowded hallway after lunch and trying to be a cool girl and whatever when the most popular guy a grade above me bumped into me while running to his locker. I yelled at him to watch where he was going, but in a joking manner. More to get. his attention. Well, he turned around and flipped me off. And to get the attention of everyone else to see that one of the popular boys noticed me, I shouted, "Hey, Mike fingered me, apostrophe, bro." Everyone and their mom stopped and turned to look at me and laugh. Mike looked upset and ran off. One of my friends pulled me to the side and told me what fingering meant, and I ran to the bathroom and refused to come out. I was end up finger girl for the next few weeks until someone got beat up, and that was more interesting. This story is the first one that absolutely got me laughing so hard I started tearing up. You definitely were the one who asserted dominance in that situation when that guy gave you the middle finger for bumping into you. You just didn't realize it back then. But it was a heck of a power move. Congrats for absolutely embarrassing him in a totally naive but clever way. In my first sex ed class, we were talking about what happens when you go through puberty. Starting with girls. A girl from the back raises her hand and says you get boobs. I raise my hand. What are boobs? Apostrophe. To explain. I was very isolated. We had no TV at home. And the word boob just simply wasn't in our vocabulary. Plus, this was shortly after switching schools and languages. But let's not kid ourselves. This would have been all over social media regardless. Nash, it's pretty normal. I learned in the middle of 7th grade science CL but that girls have more than one hole down there. My mom was in college when I was about a baby, so sometimes she'd have to take me. Well, one time we were in the computer lab during finals week in the age before autosave, and I guess I got away by crawling under the tables. I found this nice glowing switch under there and apparently wanted to give it a press. Well, suddenly the entire lab shut off and about 30 people lost God knows how much work. She rushed me out of there totally freaked out before anyone got an idea of what happened. She saved your life that day. True. I'd straight up end zone spike a baby into the trash. Can if I lost that much implied work when in college. When I was about 14, a large male ostrich outrageously flirted with me, doing a full mating dance, leaning back, crouching and flailing his wings. My family and family friends witnessed the maniacal monochromatic moth lover and nearly died from laughing so hard. I was mortified. Fortunately, I never saw him again. And how are your weird ostrich human hybrid children doing? Bird person. Chasing the ice cream truck in my undies when I was 3 yelling, "Wait, my mom's got money. Thanks for the award." I figured this would be just another comment on a post. Thank guys. I was 11 when I saw my first ice cream truck. Your childhood trauma makes me sad. Losing the Arizona State Spelling Bee and coming in 3rd runner-up. I was 12 and the word was genuine. I spelled it correctly, but due to my accent/speech impediment, the spelling bee judge heard J when in actuality I said G. That must have been genuine disappointment. When I was around 4 years old, I would get cheeky often and do things I wasn't allowed to do. When my parents asked me if I did something, I would lie, but it would be very obvious. When they confronted me about it, I asked how they knew. My mother said that a big red circle would appear on my forehead whenever I lied. Afterwards my parents asked me again if I did said thing. Me, thinking I was an absolute genius, would facepan my forehead and deny everything. Edit. Thank you for your kind comments and awards. At only 4 years old, this would been famous cause it would been adorable. At least not mortifyingly embarrassing. I burned my house down to a crisp when I was 4. The news channel attempted to interview me at 4 years old, and all in kept saying, "Was I like fire?" My brother had to pull me away from that situation. You must be that creepy girl in that one picture/meme. How I peed my pants because I thought the teacher would yell at me for asking to go to the bathroom. OMG, the same thing happened to me in 2nd grade. Tripping knees first into the cactus display at a botanical garden. My mum picked needles out of my knees for weeks. Reminds me when I accidentally pressed my hand into a cactus. Tried to play it cool and hid my hand. Went into the bathroom a few minutes later to realize for the first time my hand was covered in needles. But in my middle school genius was too embarrassed to say anything. Laugh. My mom took a lot of pictures of me crying when I was young. I was a teenager when I found them. and even then I was all WTF. I'm positive that they would all be on SM. It was complicated. No, I do not know why she did it. I do know that I received the least of the questionable interactions of all my siblings. I prefer to think that I was a beautiful toddler who cried gracefully. What ya gonna do? Did you just maybe cry a lot more than your siblings? We always joke about my cousin, that no matter which group photo we have with her in it she's always crying. Maybe. I wouldn't count it out. All the photos are of me alone. No one else is in the photo. When I was in 2nd grade, I got stuck in a baby swing at a playground and the fire department had to use the jaws of life to cut me out of it. So glad Facebook didn't exist back then. Or I'm sure that one of the adults present would have posted pictures of that crap. My cousin got stuck in the hamburger play area at McDonald's once. I believe my mom still has a picture of her in there. Let me just start this post by saying I was not a smart 9-year-old. There was an old wooden playset in my backyard. I don't remember what happened to piss my dumb but 9-year-old brain off, but let's say I fell off of the playset. I blamed the playset itself for my own incompetence and grabbed a metal baseball bat that was laying close by. I put my arms above my head and swung the bat downwards toward one of the playset ladder rungs as hard as I could. I did not win. The metal bat came back toward me and hit me square in the forehead. I laid there unconscious for a while, and when I woke up I had a huge lump where my forehead used to be. That lump stayed with me as a reminder of my defeat for at least a week. TLDR, I knocked myself unconscious with a metal baseball bat because I got mad at a wooden play set in my backyard. Edit, grammar and spelling. I jumped on a broken picnic table and the slat flew up and whacked me in the head cartoon style. I too had a forehead lump. I was caught jumping up and down on my bed in my tighty whities singing the Chilligans Island theme song when I was maybe 7 or 8. I'm glad YouTube wasn't around back then. Trying to stick my finger in a goat's butthole at a traveling petting zoo in our local mall. I was just trying to stop the streaming flow of what I now know is goat poo. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.